do it above, just off to the side first.
Nice. What? Wow.
I got it. You got it?
Yeah.
Does it change your zero at all or anything?
No. Hello YouTubers. It's been a while since I have done a gun review video, and again, these are just my personal firearms. This is my personal experience. I'm not connected to any of these companies in any particular way. I shoot USPSA competitions, so a lot of these guns that I'm going to review are ones that I've used in competitions over the years. Give you some information, my feedback, what my thoughts are, etc. So the video today is going to be on the APC9, and this is a Gen 1. It's got the fixed charging handle. I probably had this for about 4 years, probably 2,500 to 3,000 rounds through it. I haven't shot it in probably the last year or so because I've been transitioning over and shooting the MP5 more than I have on this. I'll probably move back to this maybe within the next year or two. I just bounce between the guns depending on which ones I want to shoot. So this is the APC9. It's the B&T, about 2,500 rounds through it. I've done very little to, and this is just for the record, it is a legally registered SBR with the ATF, so it's all papered, so which is why I've got the folding stock and the vertical foregrip in the front. What I have up here is a Henselnet RSA sight, which I'll go over a little bit. This is probably, out of all my red dots, my favorite red dot, my red sight. And this is actually a rubber cover on it, so I'll take that off when I do the review on it. The only thing that I've actually done to this outside of the way I received it from factory is I changed out one of the safety springs. So a lot of times when you guys get these Gen 2s, maybe they changed it, but the safety spring was very, very stiff. For competition, you don't want it that stiff. And inside, when you take this apart, there's actually a little metal detent and two small springs that push up against the safety lever. I only replaced one of the springs, not both. If you replace them both, this is, in my opinion, too easy to take off safety. There's almost no resistance at all. You just touch it and it drops down. So one of the springs I replaced with the softer spring, the other one is the factory, so now it's got a good feel to it as you transition from safe to fire on it. Okay, so probably the first thing I'll do is show you the breakdown on the APC9. It's very simple to break down. It's a blowback mechanism in it. Pull the one pin out, drop this down. The backstock drops down, pulls out. As you can see, it's got the secondary piston back here. Slide the bolt back, pull the spring out, pull the charging handle out, the bolts out. For the most part, that's it to clean it. You can remove the entire trigger assembly by taking out the front pin, There's the trigger group, your breakdown, and that's it. Real easy to get to everything you need to clean in this. As far as wear, for all the rounds I've got through it, all I've got is a little bit of from the shell extraction here and a little bit up here. That's it. Other than that, this is probably in the same condition it was when it was new. No other wear and tear on it that I can see. Chamber's still beautiful, and again, 2,500 rounds. It's still a brand new gun for the most part. It has the B&T front foregrip, which is really nice. For those of you that are not familiar, it actually has a waterproof storage compartment. It's got a rubber seal. It's got a rubber seal around the lip that'll close that down. But it's a nice size storage compartment, whether you want to put extra batteries in there, paperwork, whatever it is that you want to store in the grip. As far as the wear from the 2,500 rounds, you can see from the bolt, it's basically, none of the finish is even worn off of it. This thing has withstood, again, it looks like the way it was when it was brand new. Trigger group, same thing, a little bit of wear on the hammer, but other than that, there's nothing. The gun is fantastic. Back to changing out the spring, I will warn you that there's a little detent that you have to remove to pull this off, which is spring loaded. Be very careful, otherwise that spring's going to go airborne, and it'll take you about 2 to 3 hours to try to find it because it's an extremely small spring that holds on that safety lever. The sight. So I have Trigicons, I have Holosuns, I've got ACOGs, I've got all different kinds of sights. This one by far has probably been my favorite. Now this rubber cover just comes right off it, and that's it. Now it's made by Henseldot. Originally it was a Zeiss, so you'll see these labeled either as Zeiss or as RSA. RSA-S is the Henseldot. It is battery operated, but it is also solar. And one of the things that's nice about this, it auto adjusts for your light. So if you're in a dark area, the light dims down, the dot dims down. If you're out in direct sunlight, it's a bright light. And it's just been one of the best sights, I think. I like it now. Just a single dot. You probably can't see the light coming through there because it's. Let's see if I can darken it here and make that the brightness. Did that work? It didn't really do anything. But out in the direct sunlight, it's almost sunlight bright, so I don't have any particular issues with that. It's kind of weird. You've got some secondary sight up here at the top. You've got the 2 posts in the back and a single post in the front, which I'll probably never use. I don't never even use the backup sights on the APC9. At least I haven't had to, because I've never had an issue with any of the red dots that I have on this. Cover just goes back in place, stretches on top. These were fairly common, but I haven't actually seen them on the market probably in the past couple of years, so I don't know if they're still importing or because of COVID they've slowed down the importing or what the deal is. But this is actually, it's an excellent sight if you guys can ever find them. Luckily I've got 2 because I've got one on my TP9, but I haven't really seen them on the market since then. Putting it back together is basically the same thing we just did in reverse. First pin goes in, bolt, spring. You line up the hole with there's a cutout, a rounded cutout in the back of the slide. Pin goes in. Yep, hold on, let me get this in all the way. Spring goes in. Pin 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 go slides in and then slides up. Lock into place. Push it in and then push it up. And that's it for the reassembly on it. Accuracy, I wouldn't have any issues shooting this out to, with this red dot, probably 100 yards, 150 yards. I've shot it in competition out to 100 yards, hitting 8-inch steel plates. Wasn't an issue. The mags, they're standard plastic mags. They now are sending them out with these rubber boots, where you can get them with the boots. Originally, they were just a regular plastic mag. They were having issues when these were dropped on hard surfaces when they were full, with the bottom plate breaking off, which is why they came out and B&T developed this rubber boot that goes on the bottom. For competition, it actually works well for me because it adds a little bit of weight to an empty mag. So when you're dropping the mag, if you're doing a reload, that little extra weight helps to pull the mag out. The other thing that I'll show you is Mike over at Custom Smith has got this +10 base, which is fantastic. So you actually get 40 rounds now. He's got 2 windows in here. If you were going to shoot these in competition, this is a must. You've got to pick up a couple of these to use these. That extra 10 rounds really comes in, especially with USPSA shooting, because some of the stages are 32 rounds. So if you're shooting a 30-round mag with PCC, you have to reload, which puts you at a disadvantage because everybody else is using 40 and 50-round Glock mags. So, and plus, again, the extra weight helps when you're doing a mag change because it'll drop right out. And there's also some really good mag pouches on the market. I can't remember who I've ordered these from, and if you guys are interested, mention it in the comments, and I'll post the link. But these mag pouches are great. I mean, that just locks right in there. Don't have any issue with it. You've got the Tech Lock back on it. These are a must. Again, if you're going to do any sort of competitive shooting, you've got to have these for the mags on your belt. And they're adjustable. And then the way that they make these pouches is they've made them for right or left hand, depending on how you want, because they're attached with just the 2 screws at the top. I can pull those out, put them on this side, and then all of a sudden I've reversed the pouch. So depending on right-handed, left-handed, or whether you want the bullets facing to the rear, to the front, whatever your preference is, you can make that work with these mag pouches. Again, that's pretty much it. It was just a short video to kind of go over my thoughts on this. The gun is great. Folding stock, locks in place. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. Pops out. Very sturdy B&T stock. I love the stock on this. It's perfect length for this particular gun. This vertical hand grip for me is great because it's not real thin, so it's got some beefiness to it. Also with the Gen 1s, I guess I'll go over a little bit of the function real quick because it is different than the Gen 2s. So it is ambidextrous. You have the slide lock back is kind of weird. It's this button down here on the bottom. So if you wanted to lock the slide back, you pull it back, push this button in, and that keeps the slide lock. So that's kind of weird, but again, it's ambidextrous depending on which hand you're using. This is your mag release. This is your mag release. This is your bolt release. This is your bolt release on the gun. So depending on, right-handed or left-handed, straight out of the box, you're good to go. So, mag release. It's a lot of fun to shoot. It's standard blowback, but because of the 2 springs in here, recoil is very, very light. You still have a pretty good sized piece of metal going back and forth. So if you compare this to like an MP5, this has more felt recoil than an MP5, simply because MP5 is a delayed blowback and you have a very small bolt that's going back. This one is a pretty good sized chunk of metal going back and forth. So you are going to feel a little bit more with this, but it's still insignificant. You're shooting a 9mm round, so it really doesn't matter. I have shot 115s, 124s with this, with zero issue, all different brands. When I shoot this suppressed with the Wolfman or the Obsidian 9, I shoot 147s, SMB 150s, never had any particular issues, whatever. There's no significant blowback when you're shooting it suppressed, so you're really not going to notice any issues. I'll tack on to the end of this video. I have a short video of where we did some suppressed shooting with this, and I'll add that to the end of the video so you can see it. But all in all, again, this is just my opinion. It's a benchtop review of a gun that I've been shooting for about 3-4 years now. I've shot a lot of PCCs. This is by far one of my favorites. I put it right up there with any of the HK platforms, the MP5 platforms. This, I started out with a Evo with the Scorpion, and I went to this, and I haven't picked up the Scorpion since I went to this. It's a world of difference between the guns. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was short. Just kind of wanted to go over some information, experience. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video or want to stay informed, please subscribe to the channel. So I'll try to put out some more of these, besides the shooting videos that I put out. I'll put out some more different gun reviews to give you my opinion on some of these guns that I shoot all the time. Thank you all, and I appreciate you watching. Thank you.